Okay, so for this video, I'm going to be reviewing my story animated videos, or just one video. I've had my eye on this topic for kind of a while because they're just so bad. Like, I'm looking at a page right now, and I'll just show you what the videos are. I'm gonna go through, I'm just gonna quickly go through one of their channels before I just focus on one video. So, you just get an idea of what this channel is like. So here we have their channel, the one I'm reviewing, and so these videos are just awful. Like, the thumbnails are actually, like, better quality than the actual videos themselves, like the animation, which is really saying something considering these thumbnails, most of them are just trash. And we have a few titles to go through. 2 million subscribers. Here's the one that was posted 21 hours ago, about a day. Everyone found, for some, I don't know why, because some of these titles alternate from being all lowercase to proper grammar, and I personally feel like they should be all caps just to, you know, feed into that, just the clickbait. So, we have some amazing titles, such as My Enemy Became My Slave. I'm not sure why only enemy is lowercase. I Cuddle People for Money. That's not terrible. That's not terribly bad. I found him doing a pregnancy test. Fun fact. If you're a man and you pee on a pregnancy test and it comes back positive, it's a sign of, like, testicular cancer, I think, or some kind of cancer. I will do anything to stay with my boyfriend. My mom taught me how to steal, and of course I gotta have the bra right front and center in that video. Anime titties. Married a tree. But these titles are awful. I wish I never- God. They are too big. I regret having the private part. I'm leaving. I'm going to kidnap my grandma. What the hell, man? My religious grandma is secretly a lesbian, but she denies it. And dude, she is buff. She is absolutely ripped, man. What the hell is this? She's gonna kidnap her gay grandma. Jesus Christ. My dad is gay. Oh man. What is his arm? I can't stop stealing. He just lengthens his arm out. There's like this one specific video I wanted to find out. My story animated. On this other channel, I don't actually watch these videos, by the way. I just kind of skip through them for the sake of of course there's a giant red arrow. Okay, the other channel I was looking at is gone, so I can't really do that, but anyways, enough further ado, let's just get to the video. So I decided to start off with the buff granny video, and I don't know why I said start off, because I'm only doing one of these, but this video is exactly 10 minutes long, so you know they're just stretching it so much. I don't know, I stretch my videos too, but whatever.
My name is Abby, and I'm here today to talk about how hard it is to live with people.
Why does her voice sound like that? It sounds like it was, like, pitched down, but why would they, I don't know. Also, the lip sync here is always awful. It's just kind of the mouth just opening and flailing for no reason at all. There's no actual movement to the word. They just kind of like open their mouth and the words come out. It's awful. I mean, I know they have to pump the shit out daily, but can you at least put a little more effort into your videos, please? I said please twice. I'm begging you, and I'm crying and shaking my story animated. Please, hire me as your animator. I will do a much better job than whatever fools you have around doing your work, you know.
Who tell you exactly how they want you to be, not how you want to be. They won't give you personal space or even listen to what you want to say. But what is even more difficult is standing against them and attempt to stop them from interfering with your life.
The hands here just look awful. Like, what the fuck is wrong with the hands? Like, in this frame right here, her hands are on backwards. Like, the palm is facing towards the audience even though she's facing backwards. And why don't you hire better artists? Is it because they're cheap? It's probably why, because they're cheap. But I assure you, I will work for a measly 60% of your overall earnings if you can get me on your animation team, my story animated. This is an official application for an animating job.
Life. It takes a lot of guts, especially if those people are your own family members. I have been trying all my life to impress my grandmother, but I have never been good enough for her. She's always hated me, despite all my desperate attempts to please her. And the reason is—
Shit, dog, she's like half the size of that airplane, what the fuck? And The airplane looks so bad. Like, they couldn't even use, like, a stock image of an airplane for this. They had to, like, make it with, like, it looks like a sock. It looks like a sock with, like, flaps and windows. It's just so bad. Like, the art here is all so bad, and the scaling is awful. And, like, what is any of this?
Is anything but simple. My grandmother is a very lovable lady. She comes from a religious Catholic family. She thought that I would never be a classy lady in the future if I kept on wearing boys' clothes. It didn't stop at the way I dressed. I've always received unwelcoming comments from—
Okay, she looks like a female Trump. She got the haircut, she got the jowls, she has, like, the stature. I can't believe her grandmother is just fucking Donald Trump, man. This is amazing. Wow. I can't think of anything else to say.
From her about my actions. Don't eat so fast. Stop making sounds while you are eating. Don't run. Brush your hair. Remove your hat. Lift up your pinky while drinking tea.
Stop making sounds while you're eating. Bitch, that's fucking disgusting. Close your damn mouth when you eat. Your grandma's right.
I mean, for God's sake. When I grew up, I could no longer put up with her excessive interference in my actions and appearance. I have my own style and personal look, and I don't like to wear any kind of makeup. I like wearing baggy pants and Nike sneakers, and I definitely don't like wearing the dresses she always bought for me.
Tweening, it's so awful. It's like, she's just kind of like flailing around the dress. Like, you can just hold it up. You don't have to like wiggle it around and stuff. I swear to God, none of these people actually know how to make a realistic tweening sequence. They just kind of like, oh yeah, let's put some keyframes here, wiggle it around a bit so the kids don't lose interest, you know? Okay, first of all, how are these channels not, like, fucking destroyed by COPPA already? Because these are clearly targeted towards children with the, you know, the bright colors and the shapes and the very low effort, but the topics are awful. Like, one of them was like, I got pregnant in middle school and my boyfriend left me, and another one was someone turning from black into white, like, racially, and it's just so awful. And like, all of these are so, like, some of these are so sexual. It's like, please, I beg of you, just delete your channel. I know you're getting like millions of views and like so much money off it, but just do everyone a favor and just delete your channel, because no one likes you here. I mean, except for me, because I get to make money off your videos, but either way.
Christmas, my grandma insisted that I should wear a pink dress. Yes, as you imagine, it was hell. However, I have always felt some sort of freedom when I was with my friends. I used to spend the biggest part of my day with them after school, as they more or less understood.
What the fuck is she doing? Is she throwing up or something? What is that? Okay, if your grandma's telling you not to eat like that, she probably has a point, because you're wasting like all of the food in your mouth, bitch. Like, shut the fuck up and just eat. Eat normally.
It is true that I love Jesus a lot, but I also knew that he wouldn't send me to hell because I went to the ice rink instead of the church one time. And that was it. I went to the ice rink opening day, and it was a perfect—
It's true that I love Jesus a lot, man. I don't know why that's funny. It's just like, at this point, I love Jesus is such a joke at this point. It's just a joke to me that, like, it's always paired with something ridiculous like a deep-fried gangsta SpongeBob that I just can't take it seriously. Also, her neck is connected to her chin, which is just absolutely the peak of human evolution. Like, I aspire one day to have a neck chin myself. It's a personal goal I've always been working towards. And this lady, she has just mastered it. She is just so on top of the look. I am very jealous.
Day. I even met a girl named Dana there, to whom I felt an undeniable attraction, and it seemed that the feeling was mutual. I took her number so we could talk again. I thought that we might go out for dinner or something like that. Who knew? But that perfect day didn't stay perfect for long. Once I returned home, I was greeted with a rough and near endless lecture about not being committed to going to church, followed by the usual unasked for remarks about the way I dressed and looked, and how the way I looked wasn't ladylike.
I love how they're just reusing scenes now because they're just that lazy. They can't even hire their awful animators to make the fucking titties on the woman in the dress, dude. They're sagging. Okay, wow, alright. I know this art is bad, but what the fuck? The art is just incomprehensibly bad, because if you're looking to make it, like, pump out, like, animated content like this every day, at least try and make it decent looking. Like, just
Staying with Dana. Despite that we hadn't met before that day, she could feel that I wasn't okay. There was an enormous chemistry between us. Talking to her was so much fun. She definitely made things a lot better for me. After that day, I started to talk to her on a daily basis. We met up a couple of times and things evolved between us. And
it's just a bottle of shit right there. If that's like indicative of the relationship, it must not be that good. Also, why is the inside of her mouth brown? Did she drink the shit liquid? I think she did. Nasty. Simply nasty.
I found myself confessing my love to her. And that was it. We were a couple.
Why are their necks just like sloping directly into their chest? Their shoulders are just they don't have any shoulders. It's just arm, neck, and chest, and there's literally like no space in between. It's just straight down, cone head, Patrick Star shaped bodies, and
One day I invited Dana over for dinner at my home. We sat at the dinner table. Dana looked very polite and well behaved. My grandmother watched how Dana was eating slowly, and she had that pleased smile on her face. Everything...
Okay, that's kind of terrifying, like, the extremely large smile and the clapping and if there was sound, if there was, like, voiceovers with the grandma, I'm pretty sure she'd be, like, screaming. I don't know why I get that impression, but I just feel like she would.
Was beyond perfect, until my grandmother started asking questions. Grandma asked her which church she went to. Dana answered that she didn't follow any church and that she didn't come from a religious family. Grandma sat straight up in her seat and looked displeased with what she had heard. I had to cut in, as I knew how that conversation was going to end. And that was something
They didn't even make the proper TV thing. They just kind of put a bunch of... It's so easy to get, like, a stock reference for the TV... for the no TV signal. It's literally just a bunch of squares. How do you fuck that up? There's no copyright to the image. You're not going to get in trouble for using a bunch of colored squares arranged in a certain pattern.
I didn't really want happening. I said, "So, there is something that Dana and I wanted you to know. We've been dating for 6 months now." Suddenly, everyone fell silent. My grandmother stared daggers at me. Her facial expressions were screaming louder than anything I had ever heard before. She jumped up out of her chair so violently that it fell backward, and my mother couldn't say one word. She followed my grandmother. I'd honestly expected some kind of weird reaction, but I didn't expect it to be over the top like that.
Okay, your super religious controlling grandma is like hounding you over not going to church, and you decide, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell her I'm a lesbian. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What? That's not how anyone thinks at all. Also, this line art is so bad. It's just... There's just bits and pieces everywhere. It was probably made in Adobe Animate, which is, like, in my experience, trash with anything, which probably also kind of explains the shittiness. But, like, if you have enough for Adobe Animate, why not just get a better program? Like, literally anything would be more efficient than Adobe Animate. Just draw it in a separate program, and then tween it in an editing program. That's what I do. It works out for me, and it works out for probably a lot of other people too. But apparently not these people. But apparently not these people. Okay, so this video is getting a little too long, and to save you guys a lot of time and me a lot of editing, I guess I'll just do a brief rundown of what happens in the rest of the video. So basically, the grandmother flips her shit, and she sends the daughter to her room. The mom and the grandma fight, and then the grandma tells the mom to kick the kid out of the house, and then the kid hears this, and she freaks the fuck out, so then she just kind of like, she goes to her girlfriend's house, she stays there for a few days. The grandma calls the cops, and then, she stays at her girlfriend's house for a bit. Her grandma calls the cops, and then the cops come, pick her up, take her back home. Her dad's there, and also he kind of looks like Gordon Ramsay, but if Gordon Ramsay was a Chad. And then, after that, he just kind of, he tells the mom and the grandma to go away, and then he takes the daughter and says, hey, look, your grandma was abused as a kid, but she's a lesbian too. But they describe the being a lesbian part as, they describe it as a cursed passed down, which I find really weird because I know they're trying to use it as a metaphor, but it doesn't really come off that way. So it just sounds like they're describing homosexuality as a genetic curse, which it's not. Being homosexual is not genetic at all. Just completely random depending on what you're born like. And then, yeah, it's all just kind of like, okay, grandma's gay, but she was abused I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do about it. That was just kind of the end of the video. And just to say something real quick, it's still not okay to abuse people even if you were abused, because while the abuse wasn't your fault, it is your kind of responsibility to try and make sure that you don't pass it down to anyone. You don't abuse anyone else. You try and stop it from happening again. So yeah, Grandma, it wasn't exactly played off as an excuse, but it was kind of dismissed. So again, that was not the best way to handle the situation, but it's a fucking it's my story animated video. I don't know what I expected. But anyways, yeah, let's just get into the outro. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more of these videos, be sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.